And not having to pay anything extra for my healthcare means that I've had freedom to do things like I got a cat.
What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchets React, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we are back with another American reaction.
Facts.
Super excited about this video, guys. But if you're new here, we share our real life experiences in addition to what we're going to hear today.
Just
want to let you guys know that if you're not aware, it's not us debunking anybody's experience. It's just giving you a different perspective of us, you know? So, if you're new here and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down, hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification bell because we're on the road to 100K. And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into the video.
If you're an American that has moved abroad, how has your concept of freedom changed?
Let me introduce you to my medical box.
What?
As an international student on a student visa in the UK, I pay £470 as my immigration healthcare surcharge fee. That means over the course of the 6 years that I've lived here, I've paid a total of £2,820 for my healthcare. And that's it. There's been no prescription costs, there's been no emergency hospitalization costs, and I've had to use all of the healthcare a lot. I have endometriosis, I've been diagnosed as a celiac while I've been here, and I get food on prescription through the NHS because I can't have gluten. And not having to pay anything extra for my healthcare means that I've had freedom to do things like I got a cat.
If you're an American that has moved
Okay, I
abroad,
have to say this. So we paid like $120 for our family every 2 weeks. Dang it. I don't know the calculation of that.
Them numbers is I don't even really know too much about it.
I don't know. But the plans that we had, it was really, really good. Like we had a separate savings account that had like what, $2,000 every 6 months on it. So yeah, we had a good savings plan and good like management. But when she said endometriosis, I'm like, oh, that's a whole different ballpark. Like if you just a person who don't have any, issues or anything, I'm like, it's good. But for her to be getting all of those incentives, like I feel like when people have like things like that, our government needs to do more, way more for them.
It's like it's hidden gems for us. You got to go through all this paperwork just to find out what you qualify for. But it sounds like everything is front street.
Yeah, she's getting food free.
Right, because gluten.
Yes, gluten-free food.
how has your concept of freedom changed?
There are a lot of different things I could say for this question, but one of the things that feels very relevant to everything going on in the States as far as the Supreme Court goes is how Ireland changes their constitution.
Okay.
Now, this isn't exactly freedom necessarily, and it wasn't something that I was able to actively participate in because I don't have my citizenship yet. But I've been here for 2 referendums, the same-sex marriage referendum as well as the repeal the 8th referendum. For both of these important issues, a citizens' assembly was organized and done before the actual referendum took place.
Oh, wow.
And the entire country voted to decide whether or not to allow same-sex marriages to happen based on the Constitution and whether there was a right to an abortion. Both of these passed.
Oh.
This type of direct democracy was incredibly refreshing to experience.
If you're an American that has moved abroad,
I bet it
how
is.
has
Can we just have a vote to get rid of the electoral college?
Yeah, I bet even if we all do vote, we see what the majority wants. Like, and
I mean, I just feel like just get rid of that. I mean, I do know that we have like state representatives and all that, but sometimes I ain't even gonna get into that. I don't need no political mess in the conversation.
of freedom changed? Do you
So I'm an American living in Finland, and immediately yes to everything in that video. Yes to the freedom of no longer fearing gun violence, no longer fearing medical bills, having labor rights and workers' rights and a livable minimum wage. All of that, absolutely. But I think for me, the biggest freedom that I enjoy as an American living not in America is the freedom from the fear of sexual violence and the freedom from rape culture and the daily sexual violence that I experienced in America.
See?
And I lived in big, liberal, progressive cities like Boston and San Francisco, and every time I left the house, I was catcalled, I was grabbed, I was sexually assaulted. I have experienced daily sexual violence for the entirety of my life that I can remember in America.
Whoa.
And when I moved to Finland, and for the first couple of months that I lived here, was living in Helsinki, and I never once felt afraid to walk in any part of the city at any time, day or night, wearing any amount of clothing, including in the summer when I was wearing shorts and a tank top. And I never once was sexualized or harassed or catcalled or made to feel like a sexual object. And I think that is a freedom that I didn't even imagine being possible. And that is the freedom that I am most grateful for having left America.
If you're an American that has moved
Wow.
abroad,
That's what's
how
up.
has your
Wow.
That's what's up.
Now that one right there, go.
Nah, you good. I was just gonna say that just goes to show you what, I guess you could say environments. It's bigger than environments, it's bigger than community. You can go with the country.
Yeah.
What is pumping into the people, you know what I'm saying? Because that starts off at a young age, whether it's in TV, music, movies, plays, and conversations. Like if something is being sexualized, it's going to continue that way. And I feel like that's what it is with her. So, and then she said she even experienced it. So that's another big thing for her, wanting to not be around these type of things anymore. So I truly get where she's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, like she said, she didn't realize that was a freedom. Wow. Just the fact that she had to go through that daily, I could not imagine that. And how she said it, like, wow. You don't realize freedom, really, until you get out of that type of situation.
Right. That's just like eating bad food. You never know how poison your food is until you get somewhere that's clean environment.
Right.
The food is clean. Like we just changed grocery stores.
Right.
And we just realized how much more fresh our seafood is and cheaper our seafood is. So it's like, you know what, that's a little different now that we, weighing our options. So when she finally steps out of her environment and she's moving to another country and she realized that she don't have to deal with these type of things, it's probably a big, relief for her.
Yeah, I hate that she has to go through that.
Concept of freedom changed?
So I spent like 16 months living in Europe. 4 when I was in undergrad and then a year in grad school. And even though I already had a sense of this before I went to live there, it really struck me that no matter where I needed to go, like across the city, across the country, or to a completely different country, I never really needed a car. Like I can count on my fingers the number of times in 16 months that I needed to get a taxi, and I never needed to rent a car. Because public transit was just always so reliable.
Wow,
and
I wonder where he's
there's a lot
at.
of freedom in that. And here we
say?
associate cars with freedom, but that freedom...
Because we
He
reacted
was talking
to...
about Europe.
Is it Europe?
Yeah.
Okay, because we reacted to videos where we seen they never needed vehicles. Everything was bike and transits.
Yeah.
So...
at a cost. And it's an even higher cost if you don't own a car. And you've probably experienced this if you've had to like drop your car off for inspection or maintenance. Because while you're waiting to get your car back, you are stranded. You realize when you're on foot just how much of this country is built for cars. And that's a pretty warped sense of freedom.
If you're an American that has moved abroad, how...
Okay,
Nah, I feel like-
okay, we are not about to get into it with
I
y'all about
already
these
know.
cars.
Yeah,
okay?
I already know what you're about. Yeah, I already know.
But I feel like for us, I don't know about you. Yeah, you.
Yeah,
Maybe. I don't know, but like, growing up, there was a time when my family didn't have a car.
Mm-hmm.
And so we knew how to get around on certain things like public transit and all of that. Like, we always lived in the city. We've never lived in the country, really.
Right. We walk.
Except for like the small towns, like a few small towns. It wasn't a hassle for us.
Right.
And I guess like we just adapted. So that's why I'm like, you can walk. And of course, like, I know that there's big cities. We lived in big cities. Of course, up north maybe have more bigger cities than what we have down south. But I feel like because I lived that type of life already, I need my car. I need my car.
Right. I mean, but this is the thing though. Like coming up, I walked a lot. So I walked to the park. I walked to the gas stations to go get snacks. I rode bikes distance. I walked to friends' houses. And you never really understand how much of a luxury walking is until you see the benefit of it. And when I was young, I didn't really see the benefit of it. I just thought I was getting out, going. I was just being around my environment. But as I get older, if I want to take that walk, if I want to go do things on feet, you realize the benefit of it. And it is a health benefit. You do get to see more. You don't have to feel like you're rushing all the time. You just scoping the whole scenery out. So I get the whole walking thing. But if I have a vehicle, 9 times out of 10 I'm hopping in my car.
Yes, I want my
and
car.
I'm going in my car. And then when you have your vehicle, you got more things you can do with your vehicle. You can stop and get it washed. You can change your oils. You can do tire
Privacy.
rotations. You got privacies. You can park somewhere and just relax, read a book, like anything.
I feel like even if we was to live in Europe, baby, I know it's expensive, but I'm going to get me a car. Okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be pushing too.
How has your concept of freedom changed? Do you prefer the freedom of knowing that you won't get unexpected medical bills? Do you prefer the freedom of being able to spend more time with your family due to shorter work weeks? Do you prefer the freedom of knowing that the government has minimum employment standards, like guaranteed paid time off of between 20 and 40 paid days off a year, depending on which country you've moved to? Do you prefer the freedom of knowing that if you hear fireworks, you can encourage your children to look out the window rather than questioning whether it's something else you should be afraid of? Do you prefer the freedom of knowing that freedom of speech doesn't extend to unlimited campaign bribes that corporations can invest in politicians to get them to do their bidding instead of yours? So yeah, how has your concept of freedom changed?
U.S. citizens that moved abroad, what's your concept of freedom now?
He made so many good points. For me, it was realizing that my perception of what makes a good quality of life was actually so low in the view of an Australian that it's a bit embarrassing. I actually met another American and she's like, oh, I find it so easy to get along here. I feel really guilty because my Australians have the opposite. They're talking about how difficult it is. And we really said that we realize it's because we're given so much less. Like imagine making $7.25 an hour and trying to live in a city that is as expensive as what things are
Can't
right
do
now.
much.
Like particularly a city on the West Coast or East Coast in the States, or even at $10 an hour, try to get by on that. And so we're just happy that we can like pay the bills on your minimum wage and it's not stressing us like, we're not in debt. The other side of it was I went to university here and I tell them where I went, they're like, that's so expensive. How did you go there? And I'm like, as an American, like this is a pretty normal cost for university. So imagine it being so normalized that you're supposed to pay through the nose for your education.
Yeah.
And then the last thing was the time off. Like I already work in a good industry in project management here, but I took on another job just because I was impressed by the wages in hospitality. And Australians are like, you need to chill. Like, chill out. Take a break. Take a break. You don't need 2 jobs. I'm like, no, I don't need 2 jobs, but like, pay so well, I should have 2 jobs. And like, that's terribly American and probably pretty toxic. And then if I'm not feeling well at work, they say go home, take a rest.
Oh yeah, we heard that.
Come back when you're ready. That is unheard of. My managers have always said, suck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, just do it. So they'll see me like, literally, I look like I've got a foot in the grave. And they'll just look at me and they'll tell me to go home and rest. It blows my mind. I'm like ready for them to fire me because I'm being a little bit less productive that day. Because I've seen that happen. I've had plenty of places in the States I've seen employees get fired because they weren't well and they weren't productive. They just bring in someone else to fill that space to be exploited. So it's just insane to me. You're used to a higher quality and standard of living here in Australia. The lowest of your low is so high to me. I'm like impressed by it. I'm like, ooh, okay, let's do this. This is lavish.
If you're an American that has moved abroad, how has your concept of freedom changed?
My understanding of freedom has changed dramatically since I moved abroad. And it started with unpicking just how much the word freedom is used as a dog whistle in the USA. The concepts of liberty and freedom are repeated so often and across so many channels. They've become indelibly connected to this idea that America is the greatest. People come from elsewhere in the world to America for freedom, to the land of the free, the home of the brave.
Yeah, they do.
This kind of rhetoric. And it's everywhere, so it becomes kind of part of the fabric of reality. I had to say the Pledge of Allegiance every day for the first 4 years of my elementary school career. The last line of it is, with liberty and justice for all. And it's not liberty and justice for all. It's liberty and justice for a few in America. And it's a very small demographic. So my understanding of freedom changed when I started to unpack how much we are inundated with freedom propaganda in the USA.
It's a video that lives in your head rent free.
Alright, no doubt. Yeah, man, I think take that chance now, sacrifice what you can so your kids can live that lifestyle where they can feel the luxury of freedom, being able to play without having to stress behind anything that, you know, life may have to offer them. Because, yes, kids do go through stressful moments as well.
Definitely.
Parents know that they go through a lot, but what we go through as parents does rain down on our kids, believe it or not. So we have to put ourselves in positions to want to have them in a position to be happy and eat food that they like to eat, because you know kids are love. They love to eat. Be able to play with it, what they like to play with. Go in the store and say, "Oh, Mom, Dad, I see this toy. Can I have it?" Yeah, I give it for you. Make it great. But back in mind, you know you can get it from type of stuff, you know. But it's just that type of thing. Set the kids up now so they don't have to be struggling in no part of life.
Definitely. And like with the Pledge of Allegiance thing, I remember there was like big debates in school about whether you stand up, whether you sit down. And I know like when like police brutality really started to like be in the news so often.
Was it in the news so often, or was it more so being more put in your face, like you just being aware of that is kind of what life is?
It just kept happening back to back. Like
one summer,
like one summer it was like so many people in such a small amount of time, and it was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Why?
But it been going on. It just wasn't our norm at the time because we had different focuses.
It just wasn't exactly like in our young adult years. Like I don't know. It's just freedom. I do agree with her. Like we're thrown that word. We're taught that word.
It's a dog whistle.
A lot.
That's what she said.
Like freedom, we're free, we free. So we think we're free until we run across content like this where we're like, hold up, y'all got what? It costs what to deliver a baby? Like all of these things, then you realize, hey, if we're a first world country, just like they're a first world country, why don't we have the same things? You know, so it just makes you think. But
yeah,
that's all I got.
These conversations are panel conversations.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like,
Definitely.
There's something that we can go on and on about.
Yes. So we hope you guys enjoyed this video with us. Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell. We have enabled our super thanks if you like to support the channel that way, as well as our join feature to become a VIP member of the channel. Send in your reaction requests to our description box below. We'll see you soon.
Peace.